Every year, millions of people walk through the doors of the Louvre Museum to revere the man widely considered the ultimate Renaissance painter. But this polished legacy hides a much stranger reality. Born outside of marriage in 1452, he was completely locked out of conventional academic institutions, receiving no formal education in Latin or mathematics. Instead, he operated in the shadows. He sat alone in dim rooms, frantically filling thousands of notebook pages and writing his deepest secrets backward, from right to left, to hide them from prying eyes. He also made a dangerous habit of creeping into hospitals at night, breaking the severe laws of his era to dissect stolen human corpses. Even his professional life was a bizarre contradiction. He was a highly sought-after genius who consistently infuriated his wealthy patrons by abandoning his most important commissions before they were completed. Looking at this chaotic trail, a question emerges. Was this simply the erratic behavior of an unfocused madman, or was he desperately trying to pull apart and hide a truth the 15th century world wasn't ready to see? To understand his mind, you have to look at 15th century Florence. This rigidly structured city was the epicenter of the artistic world, and it's where a young Leonardo was apprenticed to learn the strict rules of painting and stone cutting. The turning point came when his master, Andrea del Verrocchio, was working on a massive, high-profile religious mural and asked his young apprentice to help by painting a single angel in the corner. While the full composition seems like a standard Renaissance mural, Leonardo's contribution shocked his master into quitting painting entirely. This far-left angel possessed a level of softness and realism that simply did not exist. The student had eclipsed the master. But conquering the art world wasn't enough for him. Mastering the aesthetic rules of Florence merely triggered a deeper obsession to understand the literal, underlying mechanics of nature. For Leonardo, art was merely a drafting tool. It was his method for documenting a much larger pursuit, reverse engineering the machinery of the universe. By the late 1480s, Leonardo shifted his timeline to Milan, going to work for a powerful duke, where he suddenly pivoted to designing brutal, mechanical weapons of war. Yet his focus rapidly fractured. He would wander away from military engineering into an obsessive mathematical study of how birds move their wings and turn in the air. As this animation demonstrates, he reduced a flying bird's wing flap into basic angles, mathematical curves, and force vectors. He hypothesized that biological flight was simply a mathematical equation humans could replicate. This logic produced blueprints that predated actual human flight by hundreds of years, detailing complex wooden gliders and a massive spinning aerial screw resembling a modern helicopter. Applying this mechanical logic to anatomy, he mapped the human body like an engine. He peeled back the skin in his drawings to reveal the arm's exact muscular leverage, and to trace how the heart acts as a hydraulic pump. But his relentless need to test new ideas came with a tragic cost. While painting Jesus and his disciples, he ignored standard fresco techniques and tested an unstable chemical method, causing the mural to quickly flake and degrade. People labeled him unreliable for ruining and abandoning so many works, but his interest lay in the process itself. Once he mastered the technical challenge a canvas posed, he moved immediately toward his next observation. Decades later, Leonardo spent his final, quiet years living under royal protection in France. He was an old man with a paralyzed right hand, surrounded by thousands of pages of secrets. Yet there was one portrait he refused to hand over to the merchant who commissioned it, carrying it everywhere until he died. The panel was his ultimate thesis on light, human anatomy, and natural landscapes, engineered into one mysterious expression. The backward diaries and the grave robbing were never madness or a criminal conspiracy. They were the desperate actions of a man racing to understand a future that no one else in his era could see. Leonardo da Vinci's legacy is defined by his commitment to impossible questions, a researcher who simply reached the end of his life before he could finish cataloging the mechanics of the world.